Hey everyone, welcome back to Sideline Shenanigans. I'm your host, Brian Jones. Today I have Coach Eric Schreiber from Hobart High School in Hobart, Indiana. Coach, welcome.
Hi, how's it going, man? Yeah,
Oh,
it's Hobart High School. So
Hobart,
yeah,
Hobart.
Hobart High School, Hobart, Indiana. But no, I
Mm,
appreciate you having me on.
absolutely. So, um, what led you to become a football coach?
Yeah, well, I think it goes back a long ways. I'd always been a part of high school football in some way, shape, or form. Going back to being a little kid and being around two-a-day practices with my dad, Coach Russ Radke, at Griffith High School in the late '90s, and then I grew up watching my dad coach and be a head football coach. A lot of my family was a part of high school football in some way or youth football, and so I wanted the opportunity. Since I was young, I've always wanted to be a high school football coach, and so I cut my teeth as a head football coach at Gary Westside. I was there for 2 years, and then got the opportunity to move my family here to Hobart, and we've been here going on my fourth season, second as a head coach. Yeah, we're getting ready, buckling up for year two here, and really excited.
Okay. How would you just define your coaching philosophy in one sentence?
Yeah, in one sentence, I think it's about having the best possible experience for student athletes.
Oh, definitely. So we're all about accountability here. What's accountability look like in your program?
I think it's about standards and what standards you hold your kids to. And football in general is very hard. You can't cut corners. The game will expose you, and so as it pertains to having high standards, it's one thing to have rules and set boundaries and all those things, but it's another thing to have and maintain high standards for your kids and for the program. And football is not for everybody, but
Mhm.
when you maintain those high standards, there are rewards that come. And we believe that very strongly here at Hobart High School.
How do you personally deal with losing, and how do you model that for your players?
I think you have to hate losing more than you love winning. I think that's an old cliche, but it's
Mhm.
true. Getting right back to the grind and getting right back to film and self-reflecting as a coach. Where did I misstep? Where did we misstep as coaches? Where did we not put kids in the best position to succeed? And evaluating how we executed on Friday night and where we can improve throughout the week in practice to cater to the things that we need to improve on for that Friday. I think losing is a good thing to an extent. It allows you to grow and learn and to bounce back to the next week. But I think that you have to do it gracefully and you have to do it humbly and understand that there are things that went wrong and taking ownership of those things moving forward is all part of the process. So that's how I would explain it.
How do you build trust with your players?
Being consistent, um, holding them to a high standard, being consistent with every kid. That's a part of the program, making sure that they understand that what we do is a part of their overall development as a student athlete, and especially if they have, aspirations to go play college football, understanding what that experience is going to be like and setting them up for success uh, when that time comes, trying to make that experience here at high school the as equivalent as what it would be for them at college. So I think having that at the forefront is very important and building trust, but then also building relationships with the kids and talking to them about their lives at home, what they're doing in the community, what they're doing with their families on the weekend, that type of thing. Having those conversations, genuine conversations, wanting to get to know them as people is all very important as a part of the process of building that trust with those kids.
Are you a motivational quote guy, and do you have a favorite one?
Motivational quote guy. Yeah, I've got quite a few in my classroom. Yeah, I think my favorite one I've got actually hanging on the wall. It's a Kobe Bryant quote, but it says, "I have nothing in common with lazy people who blame others for their lack of success. Great things come from hard work and perseverance. No excuses."
That's a great Kobe quote. I'm a big Lakers fan, so
Okay.
I've been around. I love Kobe. Kobe's one of my favorite basketball players. But yeah, rest in peace. Coach, what's one thing every head football coach should in Indiana should know?
Should know about what?
Like about like coaching.
Oh, about coaching. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think the biggest thing, I think, especially today in 2025, if they're getting into coaching is like a new guy or has aspirations to be a head football coach, being organized with your time every day, having it planned out hourly, sticking to that to the best of your ability, learning and knowing when to say no to things, and knowing when to shut it off, but understanding that it is a 365-day-a-year job, and it is early mornings, late nights. It is not for the faint of heart. It's if you really want to do it the right way. It takes time. It takes commitment. It takes a level of understanding with your spouse and your kids, and understanding that to do this thing the right way, to be successful, to do the best you possibly can with the time you have with this program. It's important to dedicate as much time as possible to it, while also being able to, be there for your family, be there for your kids. But I think the biggest thing for coaches when they get into this, especially in Indiana, you're starting to see there's a lot of stress with teaching, with lack of funding in certain districts, and the biggest thing is to again try to manage your time wisely, focus on things you can control to the best of your ability, and and let the rest play out as it may. But those are some things I think I would pass along to any coach that's aspiring to get into high school football.
Okay, Coach. What would you say defines Brickie football?
Pride, hustle, and desire. This goes back to Coach Kerr and Coach Howell and the legacy they left back in the late '90s, and the golden era of Hobart football. Man, it's all about pride, hustle, and desire, and your ability to play for the name on the front of your jersey, not the name on the back. To play for 4 quarters and give it everything you've got, and to be a steward in the community, and to be a good person in the hallway here at school. It's very important that we try to live out those aspects of our daily lives with those intentions in mind. And those are all vital, important pieces to our program and things that we try to emulate and replicate on the field on Friday night. And I think we started to do that quite a bit at the end of the season last year, but we're coming along, and we'll continue to show that this season.
Okay, Coach. What do you expect from your captains on and off the field?
Yeah, I think what we expect from our captains is maintaining that level of consistency and that standard that we set early on in the summer, being a model citizen in the community, being a good student throughout the school year, not necessarily have, I think kids are all different types of learning abilities and whatnot. I don't expect them to be a 4.0 plus kid, but trying your best, giving it your all. That pride, hustle, desire aspect is a lifestyle. It's something that you should do year round. It's not just something you do when you put on a helmet and shoulder pads. So maintaining that throughout the year, at home, in the community, in the school, are all things that we expect from our captains.
What would you say is your number one summer workout priority?
Going into this year, just continuing what we've done through the off season, going back to November. Just continue to get stronger and faster, get bigger, These are all things that we've been able to do throughout the off season. We put a lot more muscle on our boys, and we're about as strong as we've been in a long time. About pretty fast as well. We've got a lot of kids, under 4.8s, 4.7s, 4.6s. Got a handful of kids in 4.5s. So we're also lifting pretty heavily right now. But to continue that pace and get into a point where we can maintain, maybe even see some gains in the season. But big thing is maintaining that through the season to prevent injury.
So with Hobart football, how do you include parents and the community?
That's actually pretty easy here at Hobart. We got a really good community, a lot of engaged parents and engaged community members in the program. And so we're very active on social media. We're very active throughout the year, whether it's with our off-season youth camps. We just did a Pop Warner coaches clinic with our Pop Warner program. But we engage constantly. I probably over communicate with our parents, and they probably get a little bit annoyed by that. But we have multiple ways to communicate with parents, to communicate with players, to keep them engaged, as well as the community, to keep the community engaged in what we're doing in all aspects of our program.
What moments has defined your team's heart and character?
I think going back to last season, we played quite a few young guys. We had quite a few sophomores starting in different areas, and it was something that we hadn't had to do in a long time. And so getting through those bumps in the road early on in the season really set the tone for how we were going to finish and what we could accomplish during the season. We started off real rough, and we lost pretty badly week 1 and 2. And it wasn't just the score; it was how we lost, how defeated we looked, how just poorly we performed. And so we turned the corner, got into conference play, and started to pick up the pieces and really set the tone and kind of shifted momentum and kind of the outlook on the year. And what we could do was against Andran last season. We played real well for probably 2.5 quarters, and then it almost slipped away from us, but our kids were composed, and we had a pretty good drive last 5 minutes of the game. Matriculated the ball down the field and took it to overtime and finished that game. And that was really a defining moment of the things that we had stressed all off season, things that we had gone over time and time again, was to compete for 4 quarters, keep really being on each other, being with each other, having each other's back, and finish. And that was a defining moment last season. And it carried over throughout the year. We never really let any game to a point get out of hand in terms of just giving up on each other and fighting with each other and that type of thing. We really stuck with each other, and that was a really key part of that season was that game against Andran week 5 last season.
How do you integrate talk about faith or character during the season?
Yeah, we talk about faith throughout not really faith in particular, but character and leadership development with our boys year round. And we do that through a multitude of ways, but our biggest thing is our leadership council. We do a leadership academy as well throughout the school year to try to maintain that level of character development throughout a year. And in season, we'll spend time on a theme of the week. In season, we address that on Monday, and we'll have constant communication with the boys throughout the year, especially in season, just to kind of maintain a level of stability and understanding of where we need to go and how we're going to get there. But we do that in a multitude of ways, but those are some of the key things that we do.
Coach, what's your take on player mental health?
I think it's vitally important. Today is absolutely crazy with all the things that kids have access to. And, we really have many challenges. Not us as a Hobart High School, but as a society in terms of mental health and understanding what kids have access to, and the fact that we can do all we can here when they're with us, but when they go home or when they're out of this area, like what are they getting access to? What are they seeing, and how does that impact their emotional stability and the decisions they make away from the program? And it's definitely challenging, it is something that continuously learning about, continuously trying to find ways to improve and to help kids and give them tools to overcome those adverse situations. But it is a challenge. It's a constant battle.
So, Coach, we're gonna talk like schedule wise. Do you like to open the season at home or on the road?
It doesn't matter.
No preference?
No preference, man. Put the ball down and play.
Right. So, what would you say the biggest sleeper team on your schedule is?
Sleeper team?
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. I don't know if there is a sleeper team. I think we play in a very competitive conference. I think if Portage can, stick together over there and do some good things, I think they've got a lot of talent coming back, and they're a team that I think would be a sleeper in that Duneland Conference. But obviously, with coaching changes, that can make a big difference. No, I think there isn't a school on our schedule that I think personally we overlook. We treat every team like it's a championship week, and we want to prepare for their best, and we want to prepare as if we're playing the best team in the state every week. A big part of that is just the fact that we can't lower our standard and play to a lesser level. We have to continue to play to our standard week in and week out, and so. I don't know if there would be a sleeper team on our schedule this season.
Besides your own stadium, what's your favorite one to play in?
Favorite one to play in? I don't know if we didn't play here, but I grew up for about 4.5 years of my life, my childhood. Grew up in Southern Indiana. And I got to experience some of their fields down there. And Batesville High School is a pretty unique setup. And East Central has an amazing atmosphere as well down there in Southern Indiana. So if I had to pick one, it'd be one of those two. Up here, I'm not sure if there is a spot that I necessarily enjoy aside from our own. I'm pretty biased in that regard, but we got some great facilities here at Hobart, man. There's not much that comes, in terms of not to be try to brag a little bit about us, but yeah, we got some really awesome facilities here in our stadium, and atmosphere on a Friday night is a unique experience.
So, what team do you have the most respectful rivalry with?
Respectful rivalry. I think we have rivalries. I don't know. I guess all of them should be respectful. I think that our biggest ones in terms of rivalry historically would be obviously Andran, probably number one. Lowell being number two historically. And then obviously Hanover Central has been a very competitive game the last couple of years. They've been a very solid football program over the last 5, 6, 7 years. And that has become, a bit of a rivalry in terms of the, clashes that we've had on Friday nights. So, I would say those three are for sure would be rivalries for us.
So, Coach, all right, let's get a little personal here. Okay. Where did you play high school football, and how did it shape you?
Yeah, I played. Actually, I played at two schools. My freshman year, I played at Michigan City High School. My dad was a head football coach there, and then I transferred to Hammond High when he got the job there at Hammond High School. I lived all over the state. I've lived in different demographics, so it's really allowed me to kind of have a different perspective, or I guess a unique perspective on schools, on how kids interact with each other, why kids interact the way they do with each other. It has allowed me to be able to better build relationships with kids from all aspects of life because of the experiences I've had myself, being at Hammond High School, being a Wildcat, and then obviously being at Michigan City for a year, but also living in Southern Indiana, living in Griffith. I've had a lot of unique experiences that I think has given me a perspective that other people may not have.
Who's your biggest coaching mentor?
That would be my dad. Yeah, my dad has been my biggest mentor. Obviously he's been a head coach multiple places. He's rebuilt programs multiple times over, and my dad would be my biggest mentor. Coach Bazia, I still keep in touch with and talk to from time to time. Coach Radke is somebody from afar that I've been able to learn from and take things from. Coach Osika here at Hobart High School is a guy I talk to pretty regularly here and bounce ideas off of him as well. So, my dad would be definitely number one, but I'm lucky to have quite a few people I can reach out to and talk to. But yeah, that'd be my dad.
What would surprise your players if the most if they knew something like what's a weird fact about you that your players don't know?
Weird fact. I don't know. I don't know if I have a. Well, actually, I do. I like to read, and I read. I try to read quite often. My wife actually gets very annoyed with all the books that I have in our house. Yeah, I read quite often. I try to make it a point to do that as much as I can with the time that I have. But I love to read.
So, do you still keep in touch with some former players?
Yeah, I do. I keep in touch with quite a few former players. Whenever they reach out from time to time, or there's a few that I contact probably weekly, and vice versa, that are playing college ball or having a job, having a family and kids, and so it's really cool to be a part of those experiences.
10 years from now, what's the dream coaching scenario?
To win state championships here at Hobart High School and watch my babies grow. In 10 years, my oldest will be a senior, my daughter will be a junior, and Eli, he's our third, he'd be a sophomore. And then Noah would be going into 8th grade here at Hobart. So in 10 years, I'm hoping that we get this thing rolling and we can bring back a couple of state championships or more and watch my babies grow up here in Hobart and bring some success here and pride back to the football program.
Who's one player who changed your perspective as a coach?
Yeah, I think my experiences at Westside were definitely unique. We had a pretty big football player there at Westside, and prior to my time at Westside, I coached at Home and Flossmoor as an assistant, and there were tremendously talented kids there, and we had quite a few Division I athletes at Home and Flossmoor, and so from that perspective, being a young coach, I thought I knew what a Division I kid was. And so, in my opinion, at that time at Westside, I was a couple years in or a year in, and I didn't think we had those types of kids in our lineup at the time. And so the recruiting cycle comes around, and we have a couple of guys that are being sought after by a couple of really big colleges, Power 4 colleges. And one of our kids had the opportunity to go play Division I football. He got an offer to Minnesota, and now he's at Howard. And so at that moment, it changed my perspective on recruiting. I felt like my job at that time was to obviously continue to be honest with collegiate coaches, but there isn't a formula for for what is a kid that's it's pretty unpredictable, and so to just provide give the best opportunities to succeed at the next level.
How do you handle coaching criticism?
Coaching criticism, like from people?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think you don't take advice from someone that you don't know. And now that obviously I'm 30, I'm very young, but I've been a part of this for a long time. Really, since I was a kid, I've been a part of high school coaching meetings and Friday nights and everything that kind of goes with a football program. I've been a part of it for a long time. And, you're not going to please everybody. It's just impossible, and you're going to go. You're going to do some pretty big harm to yourself trying to make that happen. Trying to please every person that crosses your path. And so, the biggest thing is to take the criticism with a grain of salt and pursue forward to the things that you believe are setting your program up for success. And so, you can't take too much into account of random people that wouldn't say it to your face in person.
Right.
That's generally how it goes.
All right, Coach. I want to thank you again for coming on. I'm Brian Jones. He's Coach Eric Schreiber. Thank you for listening.